Hi, welcome back to our course, and we are working on Carcassi's study number 14. Remember, this is part of Carcassi's melodic and progressive studies. So it has to do with melody, especially in a piece of music full of scales like that. So it really should be about melody. I don't like to play that study so fast as some people do. I believe here Carcassi uses a very sophisticated way to make a rhythm swing, some rhythm variations that is related to how he shapes the melodies. I'll go into detail about that in a while, but first, I would like to stress that because of these sophisticated melodic arcs and shapes that he creates, if you play very fast, you won't be able to show that in a way that an audience of laymen, of normal people that work from 8 on and will hear you only after a full day of work and they don't have the best attention may still recognize. So I think study number 1 is more speed friendly than study 14. I would play a little bit slower than what you are playing, how fast you are playing study number 1 from Carcass, just to use some reference. Okay, about this sophisticated arc that I'm saying. One of the ways that composers, especially from the Baroque and the Classic era, to shape harmonies and shape melodies in a way that create unusual rhythms is using the changes of direction to especially when they happen outside the first beat. Those changes of direction will call your attention or the listener's attention to a point where it wouldn't supposed to be happening, because in the music from this period especially, we expect that the most important event will happen on the beat, especially on the first beat. So when we have significant events like a melody change outside that expected place, then it sounds unique and we start to feel a rhythm that is different than what we would expect. And this is one of the reasons that we are working more than 200 years later on our Carcassi study. Because if you pay attention closely, very often he makes those changes of direction outside the beat. I'm sure there were guitarist composers from that era that made those changes of direction on the beat. Carcassi wrote outside the beat. And that's why we are playing Carcassi and not the piece from those composers. Because it's boring when things always happen where you expect them to be. Imagine going to the movies and every time when you sit, you are introduced to that story, and 5 minutes later, you predict what will happen and you always get it right. Wouldn't that be boring? So, music happens the same way. When I mean the changes of direction, I recommend you, especially if it's a new concept for you, to really, literally take some pencil, it can be a very thin one, and tie the dots of the notes. So tie the D with the F and you're going to see the lines. and the lines will have some points where they finish and another line begins. This is what I'm talking about of melodic direction changes. Okay? Shape them accordingly as different events, something like that. Sorry, that was a wrong note, but it's still on the correct direction. So this is what I mean. And the first thing that I recommend you to do is to study each line when you mark. So we start with a D and then F to the F sharp, going on F sharp to the F sharp. And not only work so that you play very legato, this piece requires a lot of legato, but also work using some dynamics. It can be either crescendo or decrescendo. Anything that helps to tie that group together. Then the next line. And beware, the very last note of a line is also the very first note of the next one. So we start with the F sharp also. Or the crescendo. Okay, and it's interesting also for you to at least explore these two dynamic options so you can decide which one suits better. Fine. Then on the B part, we have some melodies on the basses, and the same worry is you have to show there. I myself have no trouble at this point of my career to make that melody with the thumb throughout. First, because when I play the note with the thumb, I always aim to the string in a point where I'm just scratching a little bit of flesh. So it's quite easy for me to play legato. If I played a little bit more with more flesh, more to where there are some fingerprints, then it would be harder to play legato. Also, I have some speed playing with the thumb, so it's not tricky for me to play this kind of legato with accelerando or crescendo, decrescendo. It's not tough for me. If at the moment you are, that is a worry, man, don't try to be a hero. Just make the music sound better. This is not a competition on who has the best or faster or stronger thumb. This is art. It's for you to play the most beautiful way. So if for you it's easier to play beautifully using I am, use I am. Okay? So and with the A, so it's easier for you to reach the bass note with the I and go with I am. Then start with A so it doesn't need for you to move so much your hand. Then start with the A and with the A also go with the I and so on. Don't try to be a hero. Try to play it the best way possible. Fine. Another issue that I should talk, I've decided to make some fingerings where very often I decide to jump straight to the ninth position and then back to the second or fourth position at once with little notes in between, and usually using the open E strings to help me make those changes. That happens first on measure 12, 15. So measure 15, I'm here. open string, F sharp on the 9th position. Then I keep on the 9th position. Then with the same note, E open string, 2nd position. So on the addition that we are working, we have a misprint. And it's also a place where I make one position change, so I will not only say about the position change, but also the misprint. On the addition we are working, this happens on 2nd page, 3rd system, last measure. So it's D, F, A, G sharp, A, G sharp also, and here I make this position change by contraction. I just play the next G sharp with finger 1, and it's a D sharp. Then I change back to the 2nd position to a G natural, and only then is a G natural, okay? Before it's a G sharp. Okay? Then there's another position change right after that, next then I go to this A on the 7th position with finger 3. E open string, and then I jump. Which place else? So no more need to worry on that. So beware of the legato. Work each scale group separately and mark easily in a friendly manner for a tired listener, which will be your constant listener, each melodic shape. And that piece will sound gorgeous. Nice studies, have fun.